They bulldozed my mountain mansion while I stood graveside, lowering my father into the earth. 40 meters away, diesel engines roared, glass shattered, and stone crumbled. The dream we built together, gone in minutes. But grief forged my rage into steel. 6 months later, I erased their entire HOA from existence. My name's Aaron Caldwell, and for years, my life had been defined by loss. After my wife passed from cancer, I poured everything I had into building a home with my father. Together, we carved a sanctuary into the Colorado mountains, a place where pine needles whispered in the wind and bald eagles soared across endless skies. This wasn't just a house. It was therapy. Massive timber beams, stone fireplaces we stacked by hand, a wraparound deck to watch the sun rise. Every plank carried my sweat, my grief, and my hope for something lasting. My father called it the Mansion of Healing. For 18 months, it grew out of the earth, brick by brick, until it stood like a fortress of resilience. Meters away, my father saw it completed before his final illness took him. Stone crumbled. He smiled, the dream we built together, this house will outlast both of us. But he didn't know the HOA lurking nearby, an association with leaders drunk on control and blind to decency. To them, paradise was a set of rigid rules, not freedom. And to them, my sanctuary wasn't a home. It was a target. Started small. A letter demanding $500 for unauthorized landscaping. My crime? Planting native wildflowers instead of their approved bluegrass. Unpaid fee notice, the letter said, signed by their queen, HOA President Lydia Crosswell. She drove a pearl-white Mercedes, carried an iPad like a judge's gavel, and smiled only when issuing fines. I appealed, presenting research. Native plants saved water, boosted wildlife, raised property values. Lydia didn't care. She doubled my fine. Rules are rules, she said, never lifting her eyes from the iPad. Then came another letter. $1,000 for non-standard mailbox color. $2,500 for unapproved solar panels. They piled up faster than junk mail, even though I had receipts showing everything was approved during construction. Neighbors whispered their own horror stories. Retirees fined for lawn gnomes. Veterans threatened with foreclosure over driveway cracks. Single mothers stalked by HOA enforcer Carl, Lydia's cousin who patrolled in a golf cart with a fake siren. Everyone lived in fear. Everyone except me. Because unlike the rest, I had something Lydia couldn't calculate. An engineer's mind, a lawyer's memory, and nothing left to lose. The final straw came the day of my father's funeral. As I stood graveside, folding the flag from his casket, a neighbor ran up breathless. Aaron, they've sent bulldozers to your house. I sprinted across wet grass, suit dragging mud. From the hill, I saw it, machinery tearing into my mansion. The stone fireplace, where Dad and I once shared late-night coffee, collapsed under steel treads. Solar panels shattered like glass wings. My woodworking shop, where I'd carved his coffin by hand, splintered into dust. Diesel smoke blended with the scent of pine, choking me with every breath. And there she was, Lydia, filming with her iPad, smirking as if she were recording a victory parade. Neighbors gathered silently, horrified. Some cried. Others looked away, too scared to speak. I shouted, demanded permits. The contractor handed me papers, signed by Lydia herself. Reason: emergency demolition due to unpaid fees threatening community safety. Unpaid fees. That was their excuse to destroy the one place my father and I built together. But standing in the rubble, I made a promise. They thought they'd buried me with my father. Instead, they'd just awakened the part of me that knows how to bring entire systems crashing down. Rage is dangerous when it's chaotic. But when you focus it, when you shape it with precision, it becomes unstoppable. I spent nights at the county clerk's office, combing through dusty boxes of legal documents. The HOA's foundation wasn't solid concrete. It was rotten wood disguised with paint. In their bylaws, I found inconsistencies. Rules changed without proper votes. Amendments passed in meetings never announced to residents. Quorum requirements ignored. Worse, the original covenants, the ones filed decades ago, were crystal clear. My property wasn't even inside their legal jurisdiction. They'd expanded boundaries illegally, roping in 24 extra homes without state approval. And it didn't stop there. Lydia's husband ran a roofing company. Her cousin owned a landscaping business. Every violation funneled money into their pockets. For the first time in months, I smiled. They thought they'd destroyed my foundation, but really they'd exposed theirs. And now I was going to tear it down, piece by piece, until there was nothing left of Lydia's empire but ashes on the mountain wind. I started documenting everything. Photos of selective enforcement. Notes on neighbors' violations ignored while mine piled up. Audio recordings of Carl threatening families with foreclosure. One by one, my neighbors joined me. Retired teacher Ellen brought meeting minutes from the 1990s. Vietnam vet Hank provided sworn statements about harassment. Young mother Carla whispered, "If you fight, I'll back you." Soon we had a secret group, Mountain Truth. 20 families, united in silence but burning with anger. Then came the golden find. Ellen uncovered boundary maps showing half the HOA's district was never legally established. Every fee, every fine, every foreclosure, fraudulent. "This isn't just harassment," I told them. "It's theft, and theft has consequences." We pooled funds for a property rights attorney. She nearly laughed reading the evidence. "Aaron, this isn't just a lawsuit. This is a bomb. We're going to wipe this HOA clean off the state registry." At the next HOA meeting, Lydia sat at the front like a queen in her throne, Carl looming beside her in his ridiculous golf cart uniform. I walked in with 20 neighbors behind me, cameras ready, documents stacked in my arms. "Mr. Caldwell is here to address unpaid fees," Lydia sneered. I laid out boundary maps, covenants, forged signatures, and bank transfers. My voice didn't shake once. "These are illegal expansions. These fines are fraudulent. This HOA has no jurisdiction over my property, or half the families here." Gasps filled the room. Ellen held up minutes showing fake votes. Hank slammed his fist on the table, shouting, "We've been robbed for years." Lydia's face drained. She muttered about clerical errors and misunderstandings. But the county inspector, who I'd invited, stood up. "This evidence is valid. If proven in court, this entire HOA could face dissolution." For the first time, Lydia's smirk vanished. The lawsuit hit like a landslide. Fraud, boundary violations, civil rights harassment. Court hearings exposed everything: Lydia's financial conflicts, Carl's stalking, forged documents dating back 30 years. The judge's gavel fell like thunder. The Pine Summit HOA was dissolved. Residents received refunds of illegal fees, triple damages for fraud, and Lydia, stripped of her real estate license, fined 6 figures, and indicted for conspiracy. As for Carl, he got probation and community service, ironically mowing the same lawns he once ticketed. They bulldozed my home, but I bulldozed their empire. 6 months later, Pine Summit transformed. Without the HOA, neighbors thrived. Property values rose. Fear disappeared. We built a community tool shed, held potlucks, and planted gardens without permission slips. My mansion was gone, but my father's dream lived on. Not in walls of timber and stone, but in neighbors free from tyranny. If you've ever battled a corrupt HOA, drop your story in the comments. And subscribe to HOA Stories Live, because here we expose the tyrants one neighborhood at a time.